There are a few things going on in the competitive markets chapter, and I want to talk that through before our next class. One of the things going on is that we're going to put together what we know about competitive markets and competitive firms, and we're going to do it by mapping the competitive market on the left-hand side. It could be on the right-hand side, doesn't matter. But the point is we're going to blow up this firms problem, New Season Foods. Notice that for the firms, it's pounds of cornstarch per year. For the market, it's millions of pounds. And I use capital Q for the market and small q for the firm just to help me remember the very different scales. I mean, we could have a microscope and analyze the firm's problem huddled here, next to the y-axis of the market analysis. Notice the y-axis units are the same, but you could think of this New Season Foods as a big blow up of what would be right here, hugged up, too small to see against the y-axis. All right, and right now I've illustrated the long-run equilibrium situation in this competitive market, and cornstarch production would be pretty competitive. None of us could tell one type of cornstarch from another. They're selling wholesale. If you can get a cheaper price somewhere else, you probably take it. Anyway, the long-run equilibrium condition is that firms are making zero profits. If they were making positive profits in the short run, there would be entry over the long run, and that would drive market price down to the point where there's zero economic profits. Firms are doing just as well as they would be doing in their next best opportunity. Likewise, if firms were ever losing money, there'd be exit in the long run, and that would tend to put upward pressure on price until either the industry disappears or surviving firms are breaking even. All right, so we use this side-by-side framework to analyze events both for firm and market at the same time. So this is what's new. And the whole point of this exercise is to demonstrate how good competitive markets are at attracting new resources to promising markets to the markets where goods and services are produced that cost relatively low and firms value relatively highly. The market's going to get a lot of firms and a lot of resources into those kinds of markets. The workings of the market. In markets where firms have to spend a lot of money to make stuff individuals don't want to buy, the competitive market process is going to be really good at causing firms like that to leave the market and look for somewhere else, somewhere promising. All right, well, let's think through. I don't want to give away the essay question where I ask you to analyze short-run cost increase. Let's think about a short-run cost decrease, and in doing that, I'll show you how to use this model, and we'll think about a short-run variable cost decrease. So let's think about how we do that. Let's suppose that the cost of corn gets much lower, and so that's a primary input into making cornstarch. Firms' costs go down. Let's think about how we're going to do that. And the key is going to be to analyze that event in the short run and then stop and think what would happen in the long run. All right. So short run analysis I'll do in blue. First off, there's going to be a fall in the cost of the firm. So let's start in the panel where we're looking at the firm situation. So marginal costs are going to go down, and let's just assume that average total costs go down. If it costs $3 less to make each ton of cornstarch, 20 cents less to make each pound, whatever, then the average costs are going to fall by that 20 cents a pound. Now, critical to this, notice that there's a vertical drop in each firm's marginal cost curve. There's going to be a symmetric vertical drop in the market supply curve. That's really important to draw this drop in the supply curve to be about the same size as this drop in the firm's marginal cost. Because remember, the industry supply curve comes from the marginal cost curves of all the firms in the industry. So if it's become 20 cents a pound cheaper to make this stuff for each firm, well, then the market supply is going to also shift down by 20%. And it's really 20 cents per pound. It's really important to get that right. I'll show you why. Well, what's going to happen in the short run is there's going to be a new market equilibrium price at P1. That's supposed to be a 1. We'll call it. There's going to be a new market equilibrium quantity. Call that Q1. And notice that firms are going to produce always where price and marginal costs are equal, so that firm output's going to go up. And where firms were breaking even before, notice that the new price is a shade higher than the new average total costs. This is P1. This is ATC1 right here. And so firms are going to be making a profit. So there's short run profit. Oh, geez. I don't know what's my I have an eraser somewhere here. My stylus is going nuts. All right. That's supposed to be short run profit. All right. That's the end of the short run case. That's the way to do these event studies in this framework, is to think through the short run, stop. The short run case, either firms are making a profit or they're making a loss, or maybe that things haven't changed. But end that and then move on. Well, notice that firms are making short run profits equal to the area of this rectangle, vertical distance, the price, the new price, minus the new average total cost at that quantity, and then the new quantity is the base of that rectangle. Multiply them together. Average profits times quantity produced gets you total profits, short run profits. All right, so firms are making a profit in the short run. In the long run, firms in other industries are going to say, whoa, firms in cornstarch production are making a profit. We're going to get in on that action. And as new firms enter to try to take advantage of that opportunity, there's going to be a shift right. Even if we're going to assume constant costs, just because that's easier to draw, that is to say, the cost structure of each firm in the industry doesn't change with the number of firms in the industry. So everybody coming in has this same cost structure. But we were getting the market supply by counting over firms in the industry. As the number of firms increases, we'd see entry. And this is entry over months and years' time, not the blink of an eye. So firms can earn profits in the short run, just the market process will tend to dissipate those profits through competition. All right, as more firms enter, prices are going to fall as the supply curve shifts to the right. How long will this continue? It'll continue until the new market price is just the market price where firms in the industry make zero profits. Now, there's a whole lot more firms in the industry. My is, oh, I